not licensed to do this. It's kind of tough when you have a.
Say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. Is this going back to G-Track?
Nut runner.
You realize what this cost at 3 of us?
Do you know how much I get an hour? Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea how much is standing around here?
Are you worth that?
Doing nothing?
No, tap first. Here's the wiring diagram.
We're trying to change it out to 575 three-phase. Here's your power line. Here's your power line.
But it's too money. No, I can help. I'll give this back, gentlemen.
You can't get enough of me, Terry. Come on, will you? Give me a...
Just so that you know, I found it on a table and I brought it with me this morning if you still needed it, but I see you looked up. Yeah, I noticed it. When I took it off so much things out the door that I missed it. Back up. Sorry about that, but it, like I said, I noticed it after the guys had gone. Let today be something that's a nice opportunity. Hey, I made it to the States, you know, that's a really good thing. At the national level, one of the things that's a big deal is pins. And you see all these pins that I got in my hat right here. This is the kind of thing that I collect when I can in the States. Everybody has a state pin, and a lot of the manufacturing companies that get involved in the contest also have pins that they hand out. So one of the things I thought I would do, we have one of our supporting organizations, Carrier, makes up a new pin every year. This is the pin they made last year, 2001, and the pin I'm going to give you now is one that we made up just special for the air conditioning contest a few years ago. It's kind of generic. It doesn't use the logo, SKILS USA. It still says ubiquitous. It stands pin. Well, I want to start off by just giving you guys two pins, one for you.
I'll get this one if you want it.
Huh? Yeah.
Celebrex targets only the COX-2 enzyme, a key source of arthritis pain. Celebrex...
Comforting to some, upsetting to others, and a reminder to us all of how some wounds never completely heal. NBC's Ann Thompson tonight with one woman and her ceaseless search for a life she once had.
8 months later, Margie Meyer still searches the streets of Lower Manhattan. Last September, she walked countless steps of desperation looking for her husband, Dave, a bond trader at Cantor Fitzgerald in the World Trade Center. Margie never got the chance to say goodbye. In February, she received some of his remains.
Valerie?
Now she wants the simple things he carried September 11th that suddenly mean so much.
You can't believe how much I appreciate this. So, and it was on my husband that day, so it's a big deal.
At the mayor's community assistance office, she comes to claim the first item found, his wallet.
2 American Express cards, miscellaneous papers, 1 black wallet, 1 photo of the property to show.
But what Margie really wants is the picture Dave kept of their grandchild, Samantha.
He just loved her, you know, his first granddaughter and stuff like that.
The area keeps pulling Margie back, her 12th trip marked by rituals.
I got tape.
In September, she and Dave's brother Charlie put up posters. Now she hangs prayer cards at St. Paul's Chapel.
It's important to me, like, for people to know Dave. Maybe they'll say a prayer. So we'll find a good spot.
Then she pinned Dave's picture to her chest. Now she wears it in a heart, looking for any clue to his final moments.
It's just I want to know everything down there, and I want to be there. That's where my husband went every day.
But at home in New Jersey, her focus is her grandchildren, Samantha and Morgan, born just 2 weeks before Dave died, and her 3 daughters, raised with her husband of almost 32 years.
I'm so lonely. I'm just so lonely. I miss, you know, we got up in the morning, most of the time, I used to take him to work, to the train station, and then we used to sit waiting for the train, you know.
Today, another milestone of grieving, the end of the official recovery effort.
Because to me, there's always going to be something there, you know, even if it is the dust.
Her personal recovery, still an unfinished journey. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
And not just her unfinished journey. That's Nightly News for Thursday.
What you haven't seen of the handsome men of Alaska. New scenes at We.
That looks easy once he sets it up.
Call this meeting to order and we'll begin with the salute and flag. Away.
Councilor Abbott is ill.
Carol is ill. We also need to express our condolences at the loss of her father last week. So, talked to her on the phone today, she sounded quite ill. So, we will carry on. How about a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the previous
I'm
meeting?
going to make a motion to dispense with reading the minutes of the previous set meeting.
Second?
Yeah, we weren't done yet.
On March 10th and March 25th.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, a couple things that we've been talking about and I'd like to kind of get wrapped up tonight. First of all, we need to authorize the town clerk to place an advertisement for the position of the part-time poll assessor. And I'd like to make that
I make that motion.
motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. I believe we do interviews probably in May. Give us plenty of time.
We can get enough
Okay.
open.
Can you call the roll on that?
Counselor Evans?
Yes.
Counselor Beckman?
Yes.
Supervisor Hopper?
Yes. Okay, we talked at a couple of meetings about the exemption for the aged, and it's only about $500 off in each bracket from the county one. And it was asked of us if we could bring it up and make it consistent with the Oswego County sliding scale. The Oswego County sliding scale goes from income range of $16,025, which is a 50% exemption, to $24,425, which is a 5% exemption. Our scale is $15,525 for 50%, and up to $23,025. And that's a 10% exemption. We don't have that 5% exemption. Not very much difference. I did some math on it. There would be perhaps 10 that would be eligible for the 5% exemption. Even if, and there's 225 other people who get the exemption, even if they all moved up, we wouldn't be losing a whole, and they would only move up to the next bracket. We wouldn't be losing any significant amount of income, and it would mean quite a bit to senior citizens, I think. So we talked about it, and I think we're kind of consensus for it, so we should go ahead and do it, but it does require a local law. It's originally was passed by local law, and anytime we change it. So we need to establish a public hearing. I'm suggesting maybe June 9th.
Oh, on this?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I make a motion to do that.
Below.
I'll second it. I'd like to pass it tonight.
No, you cannot. It has to be done by local law. Call the roll.
Counselor Evans?
Yes.
Counselor Beckman?
Yes.
Supervisor Hopper?
Yes. And
So when did you say you have that hearing, you know, something?
we just, the resolution said June 9th. Is that all right?
Yeah.
At 7 o'clock, prior to our regular meeting.
With advertisement of people.
What we have to do first is get the actual law written by our attorney. It's very, very simple. The one that we did, the last time it was done was 1997.
Okay.
It's just, it shows the new scale.
Okay.
I'd like to entertain a resolution now, if it's good. When we put the kiosk in over the college, there was no structure there for permit the fee, and got together with the code enforcement guys, and we like to set up an alternative fee schedule for miscellaneous structures. The construction cost base schedule for kiosks, cell towers, equipment sheds attached to cell towers, signs, or other structures not appropriately covered by square footage rate, rather by square footage rate schedule or by designated fee permits.
Did you people hear him all right?
No, not at all.
It sounds like it's on. I don't know.
Nancy's coming in fairly good, but the rest of them can't hear.
Yeah, I gotta sort through, I'm sorry, I'll get a little closer to this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take it now.
Excuse me?
Put it closer to your mouth.
He's gonna move closer now.
That isn't what I heard. And if you want to talk like that, you can leave. Alternate fee schedule for miscellaneous structures. A construction cost-based schedule for kiosks, cell towers, equipment sheds attached to cell towers, signs, or other structures not appropriately covered by square footage rate schedule by designated permit fees. We brought a kiosk, they wanted to build a kiosk, we had nothing there to set up for fees for that, for a
I
permit.
think that they used the square footage, and of course it was like $6 or something. I mean, it just was not appropriate considering the amount of, they still have to do inspections and so forth.
What's a kiosk?
It's money machines,
Oh.
money-matics. They put one in over at the parking lot over there at the college. Obviously it requires a permit that they can build that. And also we take into effect any cell towers or things of that sort that would be built.
We have a couple of cell towers already, I think, in town. I guess this is in the future that.
Oh, yeah, this is for the future. This is just,
Just put one at overhead point,
yeah, that was,
right next to it.
that's,
There'll be a lot of money floating around for one.
well, that one is the credit union, and I'm thankful that they put one on the west side, because they used to be on the west side, and many of us went there,
It's
and
awful close.
it's,
The one by the,
it's not the same people that are using them. The other one is Fulton Savings Bank.
the one by the original Empire Bank, that doesn't work anymore?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. I think they
No.
closed that when the bank.
They closed that one when they closed the bank,
Now they're building a new one right next to it.
but that is for Fulton Savings Bank.
Right.
So it's different customers.
Well, you made the motion, I'll second it.
Okay, any other discussion? It's just kind of picks up the loose ends that they didn't anticipate, but and it's the same fee schedule that we used to use for everything, but this would be for based on cost, like a cell tower. I have no idea what they cost, but let's say something costs $30,000, the fee would be $95 instead of. Okay, call the roll?
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Greco?
Yes.
Supervisor Hopper?
Yes. Okay. All right, every year we have to designate polling sites and send our statement to the Board of Elections, which has to certify that we have designated these sites, and I'll make the motion that we designate the same sites that we have used in the most recent elections. That's District 2, 5, and 6 would be Granby Center. District 3 and 4 would be here at the Community Center. And District 1 and District 7 are at the Cody Fire Hall and the one on Wilcox Road.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
No.
Okay.
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Greco?
Yes.
Supervisor Hopper?
Yes. Okay. I think we have a couple of county legislators with us tonight. Mr. Vashon, Mr. French?
Ready for the legislative report?
Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
Yesterday we had a public works meeting, and it was to discuss the possibility of selling blacktops to municipalities, to local municipalities. And we passed a motion to take it to the floor for debate to give our chairman the authority to enter an intermunicipal agreement with any interested municipalities to sell blacktop. That'll come up next month. I got a schedule what it costs for us to produce it, and from what I gather, we're going to sell it for a couple dollars more than what our cost is. When you enter an intermunicipal
agreement.
yeah,
Gotcha.
I got the candy in my mouth. Okay. We're not allowed to make a large income off it. It's not to produce income, it's to help.
It's a cooperative thing.
Yes, it's to benefit everybody. Tomorrow's a meeting, there'll be another vote on the home rule for the sales tax. That'll be brought up on the floor and discussed again. That's the next stage to have the 1% sales tax to go in effect. Trying to think what else is on the agenda for tomorrow. Do you remember, Phil?
resolutions for social services and for brownfields and for youth bureau. This boilerplate stuff. Most of the stuff is granted.
Most of the
We
stuff
have
is just
granted
accept
from the
money
state.
that is granted, and we're not taking this.
Yeah.
There's,
Grants
I
is
feel that
okay.
we should clear something up. I've had a lot of emails, so has Phil, a lot of calls about Camp Hollis. We're not gonna sell Camp Hollis. It's not even an issue. We are looking at Michelle Nursing Home, the Blacktop plant, the airport, just to determine what the futures of those are gonna be. But the Camp Hollis, that's something that the county thinks is a service to people, so we're gonna keep that.
So we're gonna continue to lose money on Camp House and put the burden on the taxpayer in the county?
Camp Hollis right now costs the county about $80,000 a year.
What's $80,000 we could put towards the tax?
And a service is 5,000 children. For 5,000 children that would be displaced or wouldn't have a place to go for 80,000.
What about Camp Zerg?
Well,
That's 500 acres.
We are looking at Camp Hollis to reschedule the payment process. Last year they implemented, the top pay was $80, and it's only if you can afford it. The less your income, the less you pay. We're looking at rescheduling that because $80 is a really moderate fee for a week or a day at a camp, or a week at a camp, I'm sorry. We're looking at the top end to go higher, and obviously the bottom is still going to be zero, to try to make it pay for itself. And that's the goal for next year for Camp Hollis, is to have it self-sufficient. It's not going to be a burden to the county, period.
I'd like to comment, Ed, on Camp Zerby. Camp Zerby isn't feasible to have those kind of facilities that we have at Camp Hollis. We don't have any water at Camp Zerby, any potable water there. And the buildings are in a state of disrepair there.
That's what I thought. Last time I was there, it was not anywhere near developed. It's a nice place to go and walk and, you know, enjoy nature, but...
Yeah, and there's three, what are they called, kettle lakes?
Yes.
There's 3 kettle lakes, there's a pavilion, and nature trails, but that's about it.
But it's in a state of disrepair now.
Yes.
And we'd also have a transportation problem, getting the kids out there and back.
That was an alternative to looking at putting Hollis in Zerby.
I just like to add what Mike said about, you know, I understand what's happening here, and I understand that people have a lot of pain paying taxes, but we also have to consider the human aspects of these things. We have to think about the impact on what it does to people. Now, there's legislators in the Oswego County Legislature, every solution there is to, let's lay off 300 people, let's lay off 400 people. What impact does that have on services, though? What impact does that have on services? What impact does that have on people's lives? That's the thing we have to consider here. It's not easy, folks. It's not easy.
Now, wait a second. Let me ask you a question.
Okay. All right.
What impact does Camp Zerby have on the majority of the people of Oswego County?
None. Let's sell it.
Absolutely.
Let's sell Camp
On
Zerby.
Camp Hollis, okay, I understand Camp Hollis. It's historic, actually.
Let's sell it. Let's sell Camp Zerby. There's a lot of things we can do, Les, but you gotta give people time to do it.
Yeah, we've been in there 3 months.
You gotta give people time to do it.
On Camp Hollis, has anybody thought about contacting New York City, the Manhattan Youth Club down there? They pay a fortune to send these fresh air kids out every summer to various camps. Now, if we got these facilities, why not bring in some money to maintain the facilities and the help that we have to pay in lieu of the county paying for it? And I agree with you, you guys just got in there and you can't do things overnight. But what's happened in the past, we can't correct either. But at the rate things are going, and I attend just about every meeting down there.
Wait a minute, the rate things are going. It's been 3 months. I think a lot's happened. A ton. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Name me something that you people, not you particularly,
Right,
you two,
right.
name me something the legislature has done in the last 3 months or last year that will help the taxpayer of this county, and don't tell me about all the layoffs that are done and all the money they've saved.
Well, I've got a paper here, it just so happens the chairman gave me today, you know, if anybody wants to circulate, I'll circulate, you can look at it. And it shows what was done the last 2 years and what was eliminated. Now, some of these, now let me speak, excuse me. Some of these are tough ones. Here's reduction in funding for senior citizen nutrition program.
Right.
They took $104,000 away from Meals on Wheels. okay? So don't say they haven't done anything.
Well, we got the state-of-the-art blacktop plant.
Now, wait a minute, The
Well, just, you wait a second.
Now, listen, this is not a forum for debate. This is a time for him to give us a
Nancy,
report.
it's not a forum for debate, but how do we find out what's happening for the town of Granby if we don't ask these questions?
If we can't talk to him.
If we
You can talk to him any...
Matter of fact, I got cards, you call me. But
This is the forum for debate.
At the end.
Yeah, the town of Granby actually is part of the county, so everything that we do
Our
is for the
legislature
county.
is speaking now.
He is supposed to be reporting to the town board
I'm sorry.
and to the people that are here, but I would ask that you not get into a big fight, that's all I'm asking.
We're not fighting.
I don't think asking the question
We're
is
not
right.
fighting. We're not
Okay.
fighting. We're not
Sorry.
No, I don't want to argue with anybody, I just want to try to report.
I don't want to argue with it. All I wanted to say
Right,
that.
and it's a misconception that nothing's getting done. There's the, what's the name of the task force?
Efficiency reform.
Efficiency Reform Task Force is being implemented. I went to a meeting last week at the airport with all the pilots and all the people in the airport that do business there, not just the airport advisory, the people that do the business, to find out what avenue they want to take to have that airport go to the next step, which would benefit the county. I've been to Michaud Nursing Home. Phil and I went to Michaud Nursing Home. We toured that. We've got the RFPs that'll be out the end of this month to determine what's happening in Michaud. 3 months into the year, we've got RFPs out for a Michaud Nursing Home to determine what we're going to do with it. We've got an airport committee looking at privatizing the airport, and we're going to sell blacktop. And now we're hearing there's nothing being done. All I'm saying is we're doing a lot. But for years, none of this was done. All of a sudden, 3 months has been done, and we're really being hammered on that we're not getting anything done. Give us a little time. It is being done, believe me.
I have a question.
I don't mean to hammer. I don't.
I know. I
really don't
say
mean to hammer.
I have a question. You said we're, with the people doing business with the airport. What do you mean by?
I talked to the pilots, the guy that
Not
runs the
people
school.
we're not getting revenue in there.
And the people that run the restaurant. Well, indirectly, directly, no, you're not getting revenue. Indirectly, they say you are if you go to the.
We're not making a penny on the airport.
It's supposed to be bringing income into our area, yes.
We are
supposed
not
to.
bringing nothing.
We're looking at privatizing it, Rosie, honestly, we're looking at taking and maybe making an airport authority, okay? But these are all options we're looking at. We have to look at the legalities, because we've taken many, many millions of dollars at that airport from the FCC so that we could have or FAA, I'm sorry, so that we could get the ILS system in, which still isn't operable because of some trees over at Mr. Venetia's property. And we had some landing strips elongated so we could land bigger planes. Several thousand or several millions of dollars was taken in grants. We can't give it away.
And
We
you
have to
think
find a way to get.
we're going to be making money on the airport? You think we're going to be making money on the airport?
I don't want to make money. I want somebody to take it over to let it grow and help the county.
Bring revenue in?
If it's a benefit to the county will grow and prosper. Anything that's a benefit to the county is what we're trying to encourage. We're trying to help the county. I think we're hindering the airport from taking its next step in the evolution. We need to privatize the airport so that the people that can know how to run an airport can go the next direction. We'll bring in an air carrier, or we'll bring in whatever it takes to bring the business into Oswego County. There's actually a complex that goes with the airport over by the dome that could be on Silk Road landfill. That could be. It's a nice area that could be.
Well, you're only talking about bringing business into the county. This is what you're worried about.
No, I'm not worried about that. I'm looking at trying to privatize. We're looking at the aspect of privatizing the airport. Okay. We're looking at the aspect, actually, the long range, we're looking at the transfer stations. We're looking at every business the county's in to determine what is profitable or what would be better served by the private sector.
The only thing about privatizing the airport or having an airport authority is we have to really be careful about the legality of it. Because of, like Mike stated before, of all the money we've taken from, if anybody knows about 90% of the cost of the airport equipment, stuff like that, is funded by the taxes on airline tickets. 5% of that income comes from the state.
When you buy a ticket, anybody.
So the county cost of the airport is about 5% of the total cost of what it takes to run the airport. What we have to do is make sure, I'm sure that Oswego County Airport can be run more efficiently. If we get people in there that know how to run an airport. Problem is, right now, to tell you the truth, we got people in there that probably shouldn't be in there running there.
I guess you have.
All right, well, okay, be that as it may. But first, we have to make sure that the legal aspects of it, and as everybody knows that's sitting on this board, you have to be very careful and when you enact stuff and you go this extra mile to make sure that you have all your legal ducks in a row.
There are a lot of aspects, isn't
Yeah,
there some grant money involved?
Yes,
That might have to be paid back?
If it's
Yes.
privatized, see, if it ever went private, all that grant money would be restricted to be paid back.
An amortization.
So you have to really
Yeah.
think long and hard before you that.
Not all the
that kind
grant
of
money,
thing.
an amortization amount
Right.
of grant money.
Right.
How much did the airport lose to the county taxpayers last year?
Well, that's, we've seen paperwork where it says $10,000 is all it cost last year.
It's over $500,000.
No, it's nowhere close to that.
You better talk to the right people.
Mike,
down this way.
how much rent does the restaurant pay out there?
I think $1 a year, I think it is, isn't it that, or, Phil?
I don't know.
How much do the people that have
A
private planes
dollar.
have?
It ain't much, it's nothing, I'm just giving it a number, it's
I don't know. I wouldn't.
Why are they paying?
because it's supposed to be bringing in people to the airport, I think it's.
How could you worry about bringing in, when the county is killing, like, the smoking ban and people are closing, you got 10 businesses in Oswego County that's closed, you got 2 right here in Fulton that's just closed. You're killing people with the smoking ban. You're worried about bringing people in at the airport,
Because smoking
and
ban,
and
no
you
one
got
knows.
10 businesses in
It's state-
Oswego.
That's a state law on the smoking ban, you know that.
Well,
That
your
wasn't the
businesses
county.
are closing like
I know, well, you know.
10 businesses closed in 8 months.
Yeah,
And they're talking about bringing a peon in the airport and
I don't know what the price is.
I don't know how you people
But
think.
why
Rosie, there's nothing
Why
we can do
can't
about the
they
smoking ban.
get some,
Yes, you can.
What do you
why
want us to
can't
do?
they get some rent out of that restaurant rather than this minimal amount?
See, that's, again, I've been in there 3 months, you can't check every single thing in 3 months. We're looking at all of it. I just went to a meeting to find out what the next step is.
Do
I
they
want
pay
more
their own electricity?
utilities. I have no idea, I tell you, I don't know everything about the airport. We look at the bot, they bring in an airport report and they show us what it costs to snowplow it, what it costs, how much fuel they sold, how many planes. They had 15,000 landings last year. Is that the number we saw, Phil, 15,000? 15,000 touchdowns last year, people that landed in the airport, okay?
How many of them are the people who park their planes there for $100 and some a year?
A lot of them, probably most of them.
Yeah.
99% of them, I'll guarantee you, I'm not disputing that, I'm just saying, but when we sell the fuel at the airport, the fuel is a large part of the revenue taken in at the airport. The largest fuel consumer out there is the school, Mr. Lon Saunders. He was at the meeting the other night. He's a very informative gentleman that
He's the gentleman they're looking to see if they can't take over the airport, isn't it?
well, he has no interest, but
No, I know.
he would like to help us, you know, get on a committee to find out which direction for it to go, and that's all I'm asking for. Tell us which way to go. We need their input. What does the legislator know about running an airport? We don't know anything
Well,
about
it's
it.
apparent
So we
that
need to
nobody
have
does.
somebody that knows something about it, tell us, okay? I'm not disputing that, I agree with 100%. We asking them for their help. You can't ask me to tell what the future of the airport is.
I suppose it's not that, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I suppose it's gotta be frustrating to you for all the questions, and I understand that. But, you know, it's also frustrating to us to think that so many things have happened with so little control from the people that we have entrusted our government to. And such a lousy attitude about taking care of our tax dollars.
3 months though, that's all I've been, give me a little time.
I know.
Then go after me, because I really do. I do a lot of research, I go to a lot of meetings, I do everything. I do a lot of analyzing.
I'm not throwing rocks at you.
No, it's okay.
I'm not trying to,
I'm getting thicker skin, I've learned it.
Losing hair though.
Yeah, I'm losing more hair.
But, you know,
I have a question.
Okay,
Let's go back to Camp House.
okay.
How long do these 5,000 kids go to Camp House?
Was there 80 days in a year they go there, is it, something like that? And then the rest of the days we end up renting out space out there. I think it's something like
They're
that.
there just during the day?
No, it's a week at a time.
overnight.
So it'd be 77
A
days.
week at a time?
One kid goes for a week.
Yeah.
One
How
child.
do they get
Is
there?
that right, Fred? You don't?
There used to be a bus. How do they get there?
They bring in do they bus them?
They bus them in,
Pick them up down at the War Memorial.
Yeah.
and it costs us taxpayers $80,000 for 5,000 kids, and you feed them this whole week
Yep.
for $16 a week?
It's not bad, is it?
I can't believe
Well,
that.
we charge them money. Didn't you remember me saying that? We charge the type of people that can pay money, and the people that can't pay go for
When
free.
did they start charging that?
Last year.
Okay, because when our own kids went, we never had to pay them.
Well, there's people that utilize it. See, it's a great program, it really is.
It's a program, it's evolved. I think it started as a health camp years and years and years ago.
Yes, for people that had tuberculosis, was it?
Right, and then it was lower income, and then it was anyone, and, you know, it's evolved.
Correct, yeah, but it went last year to the point where we had to come up with generated income because of the budget problems, budgetary restraints. When we had a lot of money, it was easy, but we're broke. I'm sorry, Fred.
You've been talking about layoffs and so on. Let's forget the layoffs. As people go through attrition, retiring, just quitting, dying, whatever, what consideration has the legislature taken in as far as a hiring freeze?
There is a hiring freeze on right now.
So if somebody through attrition isn't there anymore, somebody that's left their work is going to have to double up a little bit to do some work.
However it works, right there, ask Sharon, she'll tell you, there's a freeze on for hiring right now. There is places that are mandatory, it's the state mandates that we have to have, and we probably have to replace them. If it's not, it goes to the general legislature before we can hire anybody. It doesn't, we're not hiring anybody, and we're not buying any vehicles. There's a freeze on vehicles, and there's a freeze on hiring.
Can I answer that?
Yes, sir. He's on the committee.
We have, on the personnel committee, they have what they call a vacancy review board. Any position in the county that's not filled has to go before this commission, and it's consists of Russ Johnson, Steve Lyman, and the personnel director, Maureen Sullivan. So what happens is they review any position that comes up, and if it's not mandated, it's usually not filled. And if they okay it to be filled, it still has to pass the personnel committee before the position gets filled. And then it has to go to Ways and Means. Then it has to go to Ways and Means to get the money for the position.
Before Steve.
And then it has to go to the floor.
Russ
So,
and whoever can hire anybody has to go to personnel, Ways and Means, and then to the floor. And the floor's got to vote to hire.
Now, what about this program you have for the college kids that come to work for the highway department in the summertime?
no more, no more.
Is that gone?
No part-time help at all, zero.
No building grounds, no highway, no.
All those have been eliminated. I got a little sheet here, Fred, if anybody's interested, I'll pass it around. And part of it is, like I said, it's got the senior nutrition, $104,000. It's got everything, including right up at the top, 303 positions we've lost in the last 2 years at the cost of $6,900,000, okay? It goes Sandy Island Beach, $47,000. Now, the $47,000 for Sandy Island Beach is just the cost, not counting the payroll. The payroll was not in there because it was up in the payroll up here. So Sandy Island Beach was well over $100,000 a year. Freeze on equipment, $2,100,000 for the last 2 years that we haven't bought any vehicles at all. $2 million. That's what I'm trying to say. If you want to see, we haven't spent anything in the last 2 years. Anything that's going to be bought is going to go through the general floor. That's why it's a fallacy to think that we're still hiring part-time help. We're not. There's no summer help. There's no part-time. There is one part-time girl that's been out to the airport because she's cheaper than filling her with a full-time, but she works the weekends. We had somebody else that had to work. They would be full-timer. They'd be getting benefits. She gets part-time, no benefits. So the airport is open for weekends for fuel. That's the only part-timer, and they decided to keep her because it was a cost-effective move.
Wait a minute, we'll go back. You just voted to keep the 2 part-timers for the DMV.
Yep.
Well, I was at DMV this past
Actually, they aren't
week.
both part-timers. They were full-timers.
Well, I was at DMV this week. You know how long it took me to get through? 35 minutes.
Imagine if there was 2 less.
Yeah,
The line was to the door.
If the people of Oswego County want us to close one, we'll close one.
Yeah,
we got no problem with that.
You know, that's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard.
In Syracuse,
What do you want?
What do you want?
We're
All right.
What do you
come on.
want? Do you want 3 DMVs in Oswego County? Do you want, what
I
do you
think we
want?
covered everything, Mr. Franklin.
Argue that out now.
Mike, we're not done yet.
Okay.
I have a question.
If you have a question, but let's not get into it.
I got the floor, Mr. Evans.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm next.
All right,
Go ahead, Sherry.
Are you running this meeting?
Yeah, you're all out of control and I'm quiet.
That's right, Leslie. I'm really glad to see that tonight.
Hey, I'm proud.
It's early though.
When you said there's a freeze on buying any new equipment and any new cars, does
Yep.
this include the sheriff's department?
Yes, he got no new cars last year, and I'll tell you right now,
What about this year?
well, that's what I'm gonna say. Let me finish here. It comes to a point where the maintenance becomes more than the replacement. It comes to a
Right.
point where there's a public safety issue with the vehicles having 160, 180,000 miles on them. Some of the cars that are 4 or 5 years old now, because we didn't replace them last year, are really getting up there. We've lost 2 or 3 cars in the last, 3 months that have just died on us. I don't know what the issue's gonna be there. When that comes up, we'll have to address it. The sheriff's gonna have to tell us more information. The vehicles are very high. He was used to getting 16 vehicles replaced every year, which rotated his fleet, okay? I didn't want to use that word, but thanks. It rotated the fleet every 4 years or 5 years, okay? We haven't replaced vehicles now, I think, in 2 years. So now you're gonna have to look at public safety, you're gonna have to look at what the cost of repairs.
He's got 107 of them, he should be able to...
No, he doesn't have 107 black and white cars, sheriff cars. He has 60, I think.
All right, Mike.
Not the black and whites, he's got all different vehicles, but the black and white
Well, they all say
patrol.
Syracuse County Sheriff on them.
This
No.
is a public safety issue, and I agree with that. But it would help keep miles down if the sheriffs did not drive these cars home. How many jobs before you were employed by yourself, anybody here that has ever worked for somebody, who has ever provided transportation to you? My husband, when he was a state trooper, had to drive. You drove from Fulton to Pulaski, you drove from Fulton to Liverpool, Fulton to North Syracuse.
Okay, I brought that question up, Sharon. Can I answer it now, please?
Sure.
Okay, I brought the same question up, and that is a concern. That was an
My
argument.
son-in-law does not have a car.
He doesn't?
No, he doesn't. He's been sheriff for over 2 years.
Okay, the new one's hired since 2001, I think it is. It wasn't contractual. Before that, it was contractual. It was part of the bargaining. It was part of their pay. Okay. The sheriffs, Freddie will tell you, I'm sure of it, are the lowest paid law enforcement in the county. Okay, part of their pay is the car. Taking the car home and going. That's where their hours start and stop. This is what has been explained to me in the meetings, why they take the cars home, because we've all said the same things. And they brought the contract in and showed us it's contractual, that's part of their pay. Now, if you take their cars away, now you gotta compensate them with pay or something. That's their union. They're the lowest paid. I think they start out in the 30s, don't they?
I have no idea.
It's 35 or 37,000 according to the 2004 budget that they start out at, and some of them are at 45.
Well, the more time you got, the more they're gonna make, right? But the starting pay is in the 30s, I think.
But if you figured how much extra you would have to pay them versus the wear and tear on a car.
Well, they say there's less wear and tear. They'll argue that. They'll say by them taking it and just them driving it, they take care of the car lasts longer, and it's not running 3 shifts, it's running 1 shift. They're responsible for that car. When you're pooling a car, the guy that gets out no longer cares what happened to that car when he was on his shift, because somebody else is driving it now.
Let's remember they're putting life on the line.
I'm not disputing that either. They're doing a great job.
No, I'm not disputing
There were
that.
some
I'm
people that were
thinking of
talking about
cost cuts.
eliminating public safety, and I'll never support that. Not to
No,
save money.
I'm
That's
thinking
ridiculous.
of if they paid the guys more money, if this is part of the issue, would this not be more cost efficient than the guys driving a car maybe 50, 60 extra miles a day, driving to their home with it versus driving their own car back and forth?
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
When you start, I think the misconception here, and I was guilty of the same thing.
So was I.
When a sheriff gets in that car and turns it on, he's on the clock. He's not driving back and forth to work. He's on the clock. So he's not driving back and forth to work. And I was guilty of the same thing. Because I always thought, when I saw the cars parked in the yard, what the hell are those cars doing in the yard? But I was educated, I said, as soon as that guy gets in his car, he radios in, he's on the clock, and he goes to where he's supposed to be on road patrol. So he doesn't drive it back and forth to work.
Theoretically, you're gonna take the same amount of cars whether they take them home or not.
Right.
They're gonna
And-
last
and-
that much longer if I take them home, it's the argument, okay?
Yes.
You can think about it, and determine it your own, yourself. But whether they drive one car 3 shifts or 3 cars 1 shift, it's the same amount of cars that's gonna last a certain amount of time and get a certain amount of mileage on it. Okay, they're saying the wear and tear and the car maintenance is
I
much
don't know,
better.
maybe Fred
Take
can
it
answer
home.
this. Is there any mandate for mileage on a public safety
They
vehicle?
used to, the state, I'm talking back years
Right.
ago, when they got to around 85 or 90,000 miles, they traded them, I say traded them, and they had an auction.
Right.
They got back out of the auction as much as they had into it.
Really?
Well, we got
So
double
it
that
was
in most of our
cost
cars
effective for
right
getting
now.
rid of them at an early date like
Sure,
that.
yeah. So there's gonna be a point where it becomes a public safety issue, and we're gonna have to look at it as that.
But you gotta remember this, that if you've got 4 shifts, you don't have 3. You got 3 to 11, 11 to 7, 7 to 3, but you have to have a replacement shift for vacations, time off and weekends. So you got 4 shifts. So if you got 4 shifts with 4 sets of cars, instead of going in and just trading cars on 1 shift and having 1 fleet of cars, say if you've got 10 men on 1 shift, the 10 men come in and get the 10 cars that were already out. And of course, then you have your spares. But the other way, if everybody's got a car and you got 4 shifts, you got 3 times more cars.
Actually, what I'd like to do is invite everybody that's concerned with this to come to the next public safety meeting. The sheriff will be there, and he could explain it
That's
better,
a good idea.
okay? Because all I'm doing is giving you
But that's the
my
insurance.
interpretation, but please, come in
We
and
appreciate it,
I'll
Mike.
find
We
out.
appreciate it.
I'll find out when the next public safety meeting
We're
is,
getting
and
into
I'll let
stuff
you know.
now we shouldn't be getting.
We appreciate it, Mike. Thank you.
Not here, we should get into this down the list.
I'm being
You're not
polite.
done yet, Mike.
Wow.
Hey.
A significant.
We're gonna jump from cars to trucks now.
Okay.
And this is something I heard, and I want you to check it out.
No trucks have been bought. I know you heard it, no trucks have been bought. I already checked.
I heard
Zero.
it down at Tracy's, and they were putting the county emblems on them the other day.
Not through the county. Now, if they're bought through the state for the airport or something else, I don't know. I asked if there was any money, any county vehicles, any vehicles, period, bought. They told me zero. Now, if there is, then we're going to have a real issue with it, and I'll go after them too. But right now, no vehicles. It has to go to the floor for any vehicles to be bought. Anything, any money being spent like that, that's capital, there's large quantities that got to go to the floor now.
Like
It's
I
not
said,
through committees.
it's just what I heard, and I told you this.
No, I agree, and I checked on it today.
And as far as the cars go with the sheriff's department, if they trade them in, like at the 85 or 90, they're gonna come out equal to what they paid for, if not more.
Mo would love to have you, somebody, for us to say you can trade them in every 90,000, believe me, he would love
Especially if
it.
they buy the big Suburbans, because they get more for them than what they paid for.
But that's what we were used to do, is every 90,000, less than 100, right around 100, we traded them in, we shut them off, because it was still costing the county, I forget, I can look, but $1 million, every couple of years or whatever, for vehicles. It was a large amount between the highway and sheriff. Everything was shut off, no vehicles were being bought. And the same thing's gonna happen, I'll warn you now, the same thing eventually is gonna happen to the county. Not for a while, but some of them county vehicles are really old that they're using. And some of them are gonna need to be replaced, and sometimes the maintenance is gonna overcome what the replacement's gonna be with lost time and with breakdowns and different people that are,
It's gonna be on a point of cost recovery.
yeah. Okay.
I have one more question. On Squirrel County opportunities, how much did they cut back on opportunities for the mentally handicapped, taking care of,
I know we just voted to put the bus back in line for the blind. That was, we took the money away from that, we put it back in. Swiggle opportunities, I can look through here and see what's on here. If it's been taken out, it's on here, okay? And I'll give it to you and you can look, and then let me know if you have any questions, I'll find out. This is all the money that's been taken out in the last 2 years.
Most of it's state funded.
Mike, I thank you very much, and I'm sure that if anybody's got good ideas, you're willing to listen, and Bill, same with you. And I'm sure you're both available by phone or anytime you want to talk these things over. Or I like the idea of some of these committee meetings.
Yes, I'm going to schedule committee meetings for next month.
Because you and Phil can't do it alone.
No.
Whatever.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, got a few reports here. Dog control officer. Number of complaints, 45. Number of dogs picked up, 2. Number of dogs released, 5. Food was donated, 376 monthly miles, $10 in impoundment fees, and $20 in adoption fees collected. That's from Gil Keelan, dog control officer. I have a report from the assessors. I believe Mary Ann wrote this up. She says that she's unable to attend because she is on vacation. But this is their monthly progress report. All exemptions have been processed. That's a very major job. Most of the new assessments have been entered into the computer. There was a computer glitch whereby the data did not transfer to the county and was lost. All this data, 67 pages, had to be re-entered. And the county had to come and reinstall our database. Several meetings have been held with homeowners addressing assessment issues, all of which were successfully resolved, and approximately 70 photos have been taken. Planning board, I don't think there's anything particular. You've been to
There's nothing.
nothing
They're working on the,
major.
nothing's working on the changes.
Okay. And zoning board of appeals? Nothing right now?
Your question on the planning board, there was a remark made at our meeting the other night about Walmart's and the planning board. Was anything brought before the planning board for Walmart?
They have not come to us at all yet.
Pardon?
Walmart has not approached us. I mean, it has not come with an application, so it won't go to the planning board until they do.
Okay.
Have you heard any more rumors or anything about it at all? No?
Nothing but rumors.
Nothing.
Nothing but rumors.
Nothing but rumors.
There's been nothing in the paper, nothing indicated anywhere about it.
Well, I mean, when they come, they'll put in an application, and then it'll be time for more dialogue. But who knows? That could be fall.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a long time to get all these, you know, and maybe they've changed their mind, or maybe they will. I hope not, but. Youth director, I'd like to introduce tonight our new youth director, Jennifer Bray. Would you like to come up and give your report? Jennifer has started February, was it? And has done a marvelous job already, so I'll let you take over.
Okay. For March, we had bowling and roller skating here at the Bayou in Fulton. Those went fairly well. We had about 25 to 30 kids for each event, and most of the parents did stay and participate as well. We've had 14 new youth sign up so far. For April, we're again doing the roller skating. The quarterly report has been completed and submitted to the Youth Bureau. And I have the summer schedule done up. This summer, or May, is going to be at the zoo in Syracuse. June, Beaver Lake Canoe Guide. July, Sea Breeze in the Most Museum. Strong Museum in Thunder Island in August, and Thunder Island is still yet to be confirmed. I haven't reached them. And then I'm kind of going to ask for opinions here as far as I'd like to do like a end of summer party, maybe at the community center if possible. But I wanted to also get some of the kids to take on that as well, you know, to see how many would actually participate and do some games, and hopefully get some of the parents involved again as well. So. And for the fall, some of the ideas I have are apple orchard, 4-H center and bowling again, and Skinny Atlas in December has like a Dickens Christmas. So hopefully, depending on where the budget is at the end of this summer, how many of those actually we could do. So.
Well, that's marvelous, and I'm really pleased that you have taken a hold here and really done a fine job of contacting these people and getting this set up. It's not an easy thing to do, because you have to set up the program and the transportation as well, and also take all the registration.
And that's why I'm not able to, go ahead with the fall yet, because
Oh.
the transportation did let me know that
Mhm.
prices have went up a little bit from
Mhm.
last year
Mhm.
due to the gas
Mhm.
increases and things like that, so.
Terrific. Anyone have any questions for Youth
No.
Director?
Very nice job, Jennifer.
Thank you, Jennifer.
We'll make copies of the schedule anyway.
Mhm. What do we got? Lynn is not here tonight. Lynn and I both went to a FEMA meeting a while back regarding the snowstorm, and we are allowed to put in for expenses for two days, 48 hours. And he put the numbers together and met with them, and they expect to process it quite soon. So he keeps very good records, so he was able to do that quite readily.
How much did they end up with, Nancy? Or don't you know yet?
How much did we end up with? I should have brought it in. I think it was 14,000 something.
As far as you know, did that pretty much cover what we had?
Well, it would cover what they would pay for. They will only pay for overtime, and they will only pay for the parts, the overtime that we don't already get reimbursed by the county for, because the county has put in for that. So, yeah, and there were some incidental expenses, and so yeah, it's a good thing.
We had some heavy repairs, didn't we?
I think there was some repairs, but I don't know
Did we
how.
put in for that or not?
Yes, if it was within that time period that they
He
could.
does keep the record.
He does.
The highway superintendent's not here tonight?
No, he's on vacation.
While he's not here, I'd like to mention the fact of what a good job the highway department did, both town, county, and state, for the heavy winter that we had.
Oh, I think so.
And keeping the roads open.
I think so.
I think they did an excellent.
I'm very proud of our people. Codes, I do have a report on that also. Building permits issued 10, fees collected $1,012.20, construction value $127,335, 17 inspections, 10 zoning complaints, 8 initial letters sent out, 2 phone calls, 8 mobile home unfit notices, 12 unlicensed vehicles, 3 motorcycles, and 2 for garbage. 6 fire inspections, 1 junk vehicle removed, and 1 violation was closed. And that's from our codes officers.
We can do the historic if you have anything.
I didn't have anything there. And like I said, I went to that FEMA meeting with Lynn. We also, some of us went to the Tug Hill Local Government Conference. Carol Abbott went, and Dave Edwards, myself, and some of the people from the planning board, and it was very worthwhile, I thought. Did you?
Very interesting.
Good for you as a beginner, I think, and on the board. Probably got some good ideas.
Yeah, wealth of knowledge out there.
It's very well attended, and it was a one-day conference, and got some ideas from it. Ruth?
Taxes were taken back to the county on Monday, and I collected a little over $2.4 million during January, February, and March. Everything has been satisfied with the county, and we had about just under 85% of the populace of Granby paid their taxes. It was up just a little bit from last year, the amount of people that paid. Which kind of surprised me, because I thought with higher taxes, less
Right.
people would pay, but actually a few more people paid.
Of
so-
course, most of that 2-point-something million did not stay here.
No, most of that went to the county.
But it's a lot of trips to the bank for Ruth. Anything else?
Next week I'll be going to the town clerk's conference in Saratoga. That's always very valuable. Conference to attend. Keeps us up on everything.
Very good. I think probably most people know we're not having or maybe we announced it last time, no rabies clinic here in Granby this year. We've cut back on the number of clinics, and they're all at county highway facilities.
Yeah, so it'll be 8 clinics, 8 rabies clinics, and they're all at county highway facilities or facilities. The one in Valmy will be at the transfer station, I guess. The rest of
The money for those clinics, does that go to help the towns or to go to help the county?
It goes to help to pay for the veterinarian to come and do the shots. It's a,
So that after the town gets, or the county actually gets no benefit out of it, except it doesn't cost them anything because they pay, what you pay pays for that?
we don't get anything directly out of it. I think Ruth might feel, she sets up business here and sells a lot of dog licenses at night. So people that maybe wouldn't get around to having their dogs, you know, rabies, if it's convenient and it's close to home, then they go and then they come in and they get their license. So I think it encourages compliance.
More so than any value to his money left.
No, yeah, that's true. But it doesn't really cost us anything either.
Okay, good.
Okay, let's pay the bills.
I'd make a motion to approve payment of the town bills and audited by abstract 041 in the amounts of $17,885.88 from the general fund, $8,685.13 from the highway fund, and $84.30 from the Willabottle Lighting District Fund.
I'll second it.
All right. Call the roll.
Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Counselor Crackle?
Yes.
Supervisor Hoffman?
Yes. Okay, public comment.
Hi, my name's Rose Anthony, 435 County Road 3. I've got 3 questions for you. The comprehensive plan, I wasn't here at the last meeting, I wanted to ask about it. We worked 4 years on it. We worked 4 years on the comprehensive plan. Where is it today?
It is, some of the changes that we spent a year, the town board, 3 years the planning board had it, 1 year the town board had it.
4 years we worked on it, and,
And we're still working on it.
well, it's been in process for 4 years. The town board, 6 months before I got out of office, we didn't pick it up.
Yeah, we kind of got bogged down in that,
Are you
remember?
back on it?
Yes.
All right, fine. Number 2, someone on 48 called me on that sewer connecting in the school. I proposed before I got off of the meeting that you should call these 9 owners of this house on 48. You should have a public meeting with them because they're very insulted that an engineer, nobody contacted them about the sewer on 48 in the school system, the one that, don't you think it's right that you should call in these 9 people and tell them what's going on with the sewer?
I believe we intend to do that. I'll ask the engineer.
You intend to do it. I've been on and off the board 6 months now, and
We just made the negotiation was completed in December.
that's the right thing to do.
And we hired a consultant to work on, making it happen.
Well, you should have a
And he
public
said
meeting.
he could not, he wanted to get in there and check the measurements and so forth himself, but because of the snow, he wasn't able to do it until, probably by now he's done it.
All right, Nancy,
Well, don't do
I'm
that.
saying, shouldn't you?
All right, I'll take that suggestion to him. I believe that was what he planned to do.
Who's he?
The consultant that is doing.
It should be the board too, right?
Oh, yeah, we'll be
Okay.
there.
My third one, only 3 questions, I'm not gonna hold you up. My third one is, does the town own the fire departments? We have 5 commissioners. Who owns the firehouses and all that? Does the town own the firehouses?
Not the town.
Who does?
The commissioners.
The commissioners own the buildings?
It's different from like the villages in Phoenix and so forth. It's not the same, and I checked with someone recently about that.
Who owns the firehouses?
The
The
taxpayers
taxpayers own the
through
firehouses.
the
We pay
commissioners.
taxes. I had to pick up the paper the other, here, in real estate transactions.
The governing body.
Real estate transactions, when does a fire department go into the real estate business? estate in Granby. Arnold and Malvina Anderson of Seaport, Maine. 2, First Fire District of the town of Granby, Fulton. $8,500. When does my fire department up here have the right to go out and buy real estate? On the taxpayers' dollars?
I don't know, you'll have to ask commissioners. We are not the governing
Wait a
body.
minute, we, the taxpayers own this.
You pay the taxes to the fire district.
It should come before you, Nancy.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, but if legally, if you look it up,
I have looked it up.
read it in the paper.
That is, you can go to the fire commissioners meeting. They are the governing body for the fire department, for the fire, I gotta use the right terminology.
Dave, you're a fireman. When does the fire department go into buying real estate?
Is this the,
Huh? I could see if the land was next door to the fire department and say, hey, we want to expand. But the property they bought was an old beat-up house down at a dead-end road. What's going on with our
I don't know what they, I
Is it,
don't know anything about it.
is it the land that they purchased to make the training center?
What is it?
Is it the house that they built to, they bought to build a training center? They want to build a permanent training center there for all the firemen. Something,
Listen. It's gonna cost them $8,000 to clean the mess up. It's at the end of Johnny Cake, from what I understand.
that's Granby Center then, right?
Is it
Granby Center Fire Department? Nice.
Tell me, who regulates the fire department?
The commissioners. The Granby Center commissioners, they have 5 commissioners.
And you can't answer to me tonight that they have a right to go out and buy real estate?
I presume they do, if I don't know, but if a town has a right to
We're
buy,
paying taxes,
if a
so they could-
town has a right to buy real estate, I guess a fire district could also.
Rosie, you know how many people go to a fire meeting? 2. Nobody ever goes to them, and those commissioners have a lot of money, and they have a lot to say, but nobody ever goes.
They probably got a bank account too, the fire commissioner. They probably got a slush fund, just like we do.
Rosie, you gotta understand.
That doesn't give them a right to go out and buy real estate.
You gotta understand one thing. To become a firefighter today, you gotta be trained. And there are not a lot of hours left at the state level for training purposes. Matter of fact, we just got cut 100 hours from the state, so that's we're down like 400 man hours that we can give instructors to train firefighters. When the commissioners go out and spend that kind of money, and I'm not sticking up for them because I don't know the whole process, I don't know what they did, I'm just going based on what you're telling me. I did hear that they did purchase an old home, that they're going to fix it up and make it into a permanent training structure that they can take and train, use other fire departments to come in and train. Now, whether they're planning on charging people to do that, I don't know. But I'm just saying, training is a very valuable asset in this town for fire departments. I mean, it's a serious job out there.
Do you see if they're gonna fix it up? It's gonna cost $8,000
We don't
to
need,
demolish it.
Rosie, we don't need a elaborate place. An old junk place, if that's what you want to call it, is suitable for going in and smoking up and putting air packs on and going and doing search and rescue training.
It's a shame that you gotta pick up the paper, any of us, and just say, wait, the Granby Fire Department's buying real estate. It was a shock to me. It's probably a shock to everybody
My
else.
suggestion would be that if you're concerned about that, to contact the commissioners of Granby and ask them, go to their meeting and ask them.
That's just like going to Senator Wright. Thank you.
Nancy, do they have to pay taxes on this piece of property they just bought?
Do they pay taxes on it? I don't believe we put taxes on the property owned by.
It all depends if they have a 501c3 certificate. If they have a 501c3 certificate, they don't have to.
I don't think we collect any taxes from the fire departments.
Now, you're talking about these 5 fire commissioners you have no control over.
That's correct.
Okay. Are these the same 5 commissioners that come in front of the town board when it comes time to regulate the fire tax?
No, they do not come before us. They drop off their budget, which they have prepared. We have no say in that budget. I glance at it to see what the rate is, but we have absolutely no say, yes, no, or otherwise.
Let me ask you this, why do they drop it off if you have no say?
Because we are supposed to deliver it to the county with our budget.
So nobody has any control over the amount of money that the fire department spends through taxation?
You can go to the commissioners' meetings just like you come to these meetings.
Yeah, you elect the commissioners.
You elect the commissioners also.
These are the same 5 commissioners that just took 30 feet of my driveway to clean the pond. These are the same 5 commissioners that I have to go before.
Yes.
They took 30 feet of my driveway
I
around
can
the
do
pond
nothing about
without permission, without even asking me, and I've gotta go before them for this. I don't think I'll get any place.
Unfortunately, Rosie, they were elected in that area, and those are the ones that are there to take and
They
serve.
never approached me to go around that pond. I own 30 feet of that pond. Why didn't they come and say, Rosie, can we cut those trees down? Can we do this? Can we do that?
When you go to the meeting, why don't you ask them?
Well, what good is it gonna do me after they do it without my permission? And I gotta go before them about this?
That's where you gotta resolve it.
I have a sour taste in my mouth about that. Thank you.
Okay, who else?
Hi, my name's Glenn Ross. My husband Bob and I reside at 469 Harrisville Road in the town of Hannibal. I'm here approaching the Granby Board to encourage you to write a letter to the Department of Environmental Conservation in regards to a proposed major mining operation that has been applied for in the town of Hannibal. Excuse me. The property at 485 Harrisville Road, Northern Aggregate has filed for a permit for a major mining excavation. One of the biggest concerns for your Granby citizens would be road and traffic, among other environmental concerns, which I could go on forever about that, but to be brief, I have copies of the application to leave with you and information on how to contact the DEC. It is a major mining excavation that they're proposing, which would involve 5 trucks per hour hauling from Harrisville Road down to County Route 8, and another 5 trucks from Harrisville Road down to County Route 7. They leniently, if that is the correct term, indicate that they were proposing to do this for roughly 2 months out of the year. Once a permit has been received, that probably is at their discretion to change that, to get as much gravel out of there as they would like to. They want to run the operation from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, from 7 a.m. to noon on Saturdays, excluding holidays and Sundays. Harrisville Road is not the widest road in the town. There are grave concerns with the citizens, many citizens choose to walk down that road. Recently, last week, there was 2 65-year-old citizens that were hit by a car on a road much larger than Harrisville Road. These trucks would be running 5 trucks an hour. That's out and back in. There's a truck every 5 to 6 minutes down that road. There's many people here concerned about taxes and what they pay for their taxes. This would benefit the town in no way, and the taxpayers would be left responsible for the recovery of the damage to the roads that would be caused. I don't know how much authority the town of Granby has with this, probably not a whole lot. I understand that once the DEC does issue a permit, if they issue the permit, that it would then go in front of the town of Hannibal. They would be required to achieve a special use permit through the town of Hannibal, at which time Hannibal has the opportunity to regulate times of access to that. The biggest concern that Hannibal has expressed, to my knowledge, is the traffic concern. There are many environmental issues, as you can imagine, that would go along with something like this. There's Class 2 wetlands on the property, which they are, where they would be mining as well. Mrs. Kelly is a citizen of Granby, and is here to express her concerns. I have a letter here that was written in the year 2000 by Paul Mayo and Judy Wellman, who live on the corner here. They are very much concerned with what they were to do to their lifestyle. The concerns are so great. You think of property devaluation for something like this. It's just one of my biggest fears is Harrisville Road could eventually end up like Silk Road out in Balmy. People choose to live in this area for a reason. They come here for what it can give to them, with the neighborhood and their surroundings, and I think it really devalues their property and their lifestyle as well. I would like to leave this information with you, my name and address, my phone number, if I could provide any more information you have. I have a copy of the letter that the DEC had written to the town of Hannibal in response to their concerns when they received a copy of the permit. And in that letter, it includes a statement going back to Northern that the town of Hannibal is concerned with the traffic. I can only encourage you, again, to please write the DEC, express the concerns for the citizens of Granby and the taxpayers of Granby that would be left to pick up the pieces of something this major. I also have a copy of a letter that I had written to them myself, and Judith and Paul's letter as well from 2000. You might recall that, I believe.
I remember reading in the paper about that. I never heard quite what happened with that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was back in 2000, and what we found out in Hannibal was there was really no action taken until Northern applied for the DEC permit, and they did so on December 15th. And during that time frame, that's when they sent the initial copy of the application to the town of Hannibal, and they had 30 days to respond, in which they did within that time frame.
You say they did respond?
They did respond, expressing their concerns about foot traffic. On March 5th, the DEC updated the application as incomplete, and it still is incomplete. And in the letter that I'm going to leave with you, it will cite the concerns that the DEC had. One of them is major, is that it is Class 2 wetlands out there, and the Freshwater Wetlands Act of New York State states that mining is strictly incompatible with Class 2 wetlands. It's within 100 feet of this property. Another concern is the wildlife. The biggest concern, I think, is the traffic. I mean, I think for many years people thought that they were going to try to gain access to property on Gifford Road. And they have, the population is less dense over there, and they might have less opposition to this. Back in 2000, we had over 300 signatures on a petition where members of Hannibal were in opposition to this. I recognize that the local government can only work within the legal limits to try to control some of this, but we do have our rights to control time and traffic, and again, I just please encourage you to get involved at this point when we have an opportunity to influence the DEC in their decision-making process.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to look into this a little more and appreciate that.
And you're absolutely right. We've had this same problem. I'm sure some of these people in the audience know we had the problem on County Route 85 several years ago. Remember, I can't think of the people. Again, the only thing that we were able to do at that time, once the DEC says, okay, the town and Hannibal have to push for this, and maybe we could try a little bit. I don't know what we can do. They can say, okay, we can help force the hours of operation. But how many trucks they run, I don't know. But we had a problem in 85 several years ago when I was on the board, and there wasn't much we could do about it. They just, people complain, and
I think we need to look at also, these trucks are going to be running through our town and doing damage to our roads. And right now, we have a 4-ton limit on our roads, so maybe we should leave that 4-ton limit.
That's what I was going to, I would like to talk to our highway superintendent, because one of the strongest arguments, if there was an argument to be made, would be to damage to the road.
And the safety to the citizens.
And safety is, but I mean, I'm sure they hear that all the time, and they're probably, oh, yeah, you know, same old.
Nancy, in 2000, when Paul Melo and his wife wrote the letter, we did investigate something, and you must have the paperwork, you must have, when Paul Melo and his wife wrote a letter about it, about the traffic and all. I was on the town board, we discussed it.
I know, but I don't recall us discussing it, because we really had no standing in it. You know, certainly citizens can write, and we can write probably, and especially if it's going to damage town property.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I don't think the DEC is aware of or is acting upon is that the only way the trucks can get out of this location going down the road is through the town, right here. You know, the trucks aren't gonna disappear at Kelly Road.
Right.
You know, whether they go down, try going down Denison and up and around, or they go down Kelly and down Finney, or they go straight down. Either way, they're going to the town of Hannibal, and it's gonna have an impact on the roads.
I might have missed it in your presentation. Has there been a public hearing, or is there planning to be one?
For the town of Hannibal, no, there won't be a public hearing until Northern actually applies for their special use permit.
Okay.
And that won't happen until, and if a time comes when the DEC does issue the permit.
So much of this is done directly with the DEC. They really have strong jurisdiction. It's not really, I mean, from our experience.
Yeah, but this is why I find it so important to be here in front of you now today, is because they are in the process of evaluating it, and, you know, the DEC, they are the agents that control this piece of government, and they will listen to us. They find the communities, the town is behind the citizens within these concerns. They will listen. It's more than Paul and Judith and Mary and Kelly and Larry and Bill and Susie writing letters. It's the town. You know, the town is representing how that taxpayers' money is spent. And there will be recourse for this. Not to mention, you know, the individual people's concerns with, you know, Harris Hill Road, she's driven down there. Most of these homes are very close to the road. They're on old stone foundation. You know, a truck every six minutes, you know what that's gonna do to these homes.
Oh, the road's gonna be tough on Harris Road.
The road is very narrow. Harris Hill Road is, can't take trucks like that. It's a narrow road. That's the first thing
It's
that's
16 feet wide.
The basis. I gotta believe that. The shoulders.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people like to walk, children playing.
Well, and
Definitely a concern.
there's that huge curve there at the end of the road as well. You know, how many accidents, I'm sure, you know, these are things that, and maybe if you could communicate with Hannibal Town Board as well. I'm trying to attend their meetings, become more informed with what's going on there as well, but it's important that when they do apply for these special use permits, that towns put up these safety studies. They need to know, you know, we've had so many accidents here, you know, this is just going to add to that.
Let me see what we can do. I'd like to talk to our highway superintendent, and I could perhaps talk to the supervisor over in Hannibal and just find out if, so that whatever, if we were to do something, we'd do it most effectively.
We met Ron up at the meeting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have spoke to Ron, and he seems very concerned, but again, you know, I recognize that we're all bound to the legal limits as to what we can do here. But we need to make sure that we're on top of it, and we exercise what we do have control over.
I also have the phone number, I believe, for someone at DEC who is in the mining.
Yeah, on that cover letter I gave you, there's his address. I think it's Joe Dugan.
Yeah, I know who you mean. I've talked to him before.
And Makowitz is his
Yeah,
boss's
I have both. I have
Yeah.
those names and phone numbers.
So in my letter that I left, their addresses are both on there. Whenever I sent a letter to them, I always CC'd it, and I send it return signed receipt as well to ensure that they get that. Should there come a time in the future where you would like to see a copy of the entire application, I do have that. We got that down to Hannibal as public record. So if you want further information, I can make that available to you as well.
Okay. Appreciate you coming.
Again, thank you.
Anyone else?
Anybody else?
Les Holmes, Honey Hill Road, Fulton, New York. We've already, you answered the status of the soil assessor. I appreciate that. Polling districts. Do we have a map that shows our polling districts? Do you have a?
We have one out there. I think it's kind of faded by the sun. I need to
Could you
freshen it up.
send me a copy or get a copy or something like that for me? And then I can make my own copies of that.
When we first got these new, when some people had to change, I put it with different color-coded so that people would see where their district was. Because it's a little weird. I'll go this and up here and...
Yeah, if you got a color coded, I can make color copies. But
Yeah, oh,
if you
okay.
can't do it,
Well, I'll give you one that I need to see
or
if
I'll bring it back to you. Just let me take it for a couple hours, I'll bring it back to you.
Okay.
I was concerned about the comprehensive plan also, but we've already went through that. Town of Granby land. On the Honey Hill Road, there's a piece of land right next to the railroad tracks that belongs to the town of Granby. And I'm sure we have many other, I haven't researched this. I'm sure we have many other parcels in the town of Granby that we own. These parcels, and I will research it if I have to, but I think we should look at these parcels and get them up for public sale. If they're not a gravel bed, or there is no chance of our highway department ever using them. Now, that property on Honey Hill Road is nothing but sand, sand and hard pan. It's nothing that we'd ever use. One of the highway superintendents in the past had a pipe dream that it was a gravel bed. Well, it isn't, and never will be. But it's a good saleable piece of land, and I think that we should get these parcels.
Does that have frontage on Honey
Yes.
Hill?
There's probably 500 foot on Honey Hill Road, and there's probably 90 acres there. It goes right back to probably Shoemaker's property, or maybe even hits the town of Granby property back there somewhere. But it's a good saleable piece of land. I'm sure there's many other parcels of land that we own that we could get back on, and maybe we should have a committee on that.
Well, I don't think there's a lot. Most of the land, as far as I know, most of the parcels are gravel beds or that sort of thing.
Right?
I'm not
Yeah, but
quite
that's a
sure.
good, that's a
There are not a lot of
Right,
properties
no.
that the town owns.
That's back in, that's in the center, but that's a good piece of land for this town.
I would inquire about, I've heard that we own
It's just
this one, but.
maybe something on a to-do list. Of course, what you need is another to-do list. Unfit mobile homes, what do they call an unfit mobile home?
It's according to state code. It's a maintenance code, and it's I don't know.
It could be just an abandoned.
Health and safety
It
issues.
doesn't necessarily mean it's something somebody's living in, or does
I
it?
don't know. It might mean if there was a question about the habitability of it.
I think we should be careful of sticking our nose in somebody's business on where they live.
Yeah,
even
no,
though-
these are the ones that there are real problems with.
Okay. That's just my feeling. Mike's got a list of cuts. He's got a copy there, a 2-page. Ruth, could you make me a copy of that tonight? Thank you. That's enough.
I have a question.
Yes.
When there's an abandoned road, does the town,
Oh, did you?
does
Okay.
the town own that? When we abandon a road, does the town eventually own that?
I don't think we own the whole road. We probably own to the center of it. That issue came up recently, and perhaps the person talked to you. I don't know.
Say from County Route 8 up to Honey Hill Road, the old peat bed road. Now, when they abandoned that, does the town own that? They abandoned a road from Honey Hill Road to Stony Robbie Road. What's the name of that road?
Railroad. I think that reverts back.
Railroad. Does that go to
I'm not a lawyer, so my guess is that half of it goes to one side, half of it goes the
I
other
think
side.
it reverts back. I think I remember a town board meeting on it.
2 years after a town fails to maintain it, it reverts back to the owner each side of the center.
Where does it go?
It goes back to the old owners.
Oh,
The owners gave up land.
all right.
What happens, the one road you're talking about, Granby does own on one side,
I don't know
The
what
peat
she's
bed road, the peat
not
bed road.
Peatwood.
Huh? Because you know when Mr. Anthony something was gonna build that big, and then Mr. Keeney, you was there, Vince, when we had to give them, we had to okay part of that because it was abandoned. When Keeney said my land borders with Anthony, what was his name? Mark Leon.
Oh, Marshall, you know.
And we had to give them half of that road, because the town owned half of that road. Now, it must be, we own some of that road. Vince, you was on the board when we did it.
Yeah, but, you know,
Mr.
I
Keeney owned, and he says, I want so-and-so, and so-and-so. We had to give him a quick deed on half of that road. Do you remember that, Vince?
not exactly, but I'm sure there's something somewhere on it, probably.
Well, this is what I want to know. And the town only has that piece of property and the Stony Robbie Road. What other property? We don't own any other property, do we?
Not that
There
I know.
might be, the cemeteries and.
Well, that's
a
all, the
few-
cemetery.
A
but-
few, gravel beds, I don't know, you could build any there, like one or
Just
two?
the one, I know.
Just one? Okay.
Lynn was here, you don't.
Yeah, there's not others.
Property.
A while back, we were putting together our deeds that we had.
See, I do my homework.
And there- Yeah. And I don't recall any miscellaneous properties.
We only have two pieces
But I think that parcel on Honey Hill Road should be put back into the tax roll. That was private residence, we got it through taxes.
Through taxes?
Yeah, it belonged to a Clark family years ago, and the parents died, and it just went to taxes.
It goes to taxes, it doesn't go to the town, it goes to the county.
Mr. Laws had the town take it for a gravel bed.
Oh, okay.
And there was no gravel.
Okay, let me check on that.
Yeah.
That's not familiar.
That's a long time ago. Before you get to that,
Yeah.
it's going down.
Yeah, we've had it that long. You know, they can, somebody could build there.
Anyone else?
Can I make a motion to adjourn? Is there anybody else? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
You don't need to know.
To report? Yeah, what you read. Sure.